Three magazines, 20 years, from Girl Next Door to Meat Grinder. I'm Thomas, I'm a boudoir photographer here in Denver, and this is how men got started in boudoir photography. Part 4, it's a bit of a doozy. In 1953, Playboy planted the flag. A magazine built around photos of women, made by men, for men. It worked, and companies noticed. In 1969, Penthouse launched in the United States, more explicit than Playboy, on purpose. That was the pitch. In 1974, Hustler launched, more explicit than Penthouse, on purpose. Their founder openly said that Playboy was too tame. 3 magazines, 20 years, and each one's business plan was just to be more explicit than the last. And in 1978, Hustler ran a cover with a woman being fed into a meat grinder. In 25 years, we went from Girl Next Door to that. Now, to be fair, the photographers working for these magazines weren't the problem. They were just skilled craftsmen doing their job. And for many, a paycheck is a paycheck. The magazines were the meat grinder. And America had an insatiable appetite. While magazines were escalating, cinema also started turning male photographers into a caricature. In 1966, a film came out called Blow Up. It centered on a fashion photographer who treats his models like disposable objects. In the most iconic scene of the film, the fashion photographer straddles a model on the floor during a shoot. He takes her picture, then walks out. He's done with her. As if that's all she's worth, just a photograph. The movie was a massive hit. It won international awards and it spawned a wave of imitators through the 70s and 80s. The photographer, as a sleazy, predatory character, became a movie archetype, and audiences learned what a photographer could be. And it wasn't flattering. Around the same time, by the mid-70s, cameras became affordable for the first time, like really affordable. Dads bought them to photograph their families, hobbyists picked them up, and a whole generation of future professionals got their start. But it also meant that for a small number of men, pop culture had quietly set an example. The movies didn't make these men do anything, but they did set a precedent for what a man with a camera could be. So now 3 things were happening at once. The magazines were getting louder and more explicit every year. The movies were setting an example of how a photographer was supposed to act. And there were suddenly way more amateur photographers with cameras than ever before. That's how a stereotype hardens. By the 1980s, it wasn't a feeling anymore. It was an assumption. And for women, there was a real reason to be wary of a man with a camera who asked to take your picture. But this whole time, in the background, some men were doing this work completely differently, quietly, and with care. And that's a story for the next video, so stay tuned.